And one day a Tinder commercial came on, and I was like, oh, I've never even thought about that. So I logged on to Tinder, and I lie to you not, after I logged up, within 30 minutes, we swiped and we matched. The next day we went
Wow.
out, and the rest is history.
30 minutes. I think that beats the record. You were on for 30 minutes
Yeah,
and you met your wife.
yeah.
Wow.
Damont had been on Tinder for 30 minutes. That's it, 30 minutes. Deidre had been on the dating app for 6 months. Then they matched. Damont messaged her right away, asked her out almost immediately, and the very next day, they met in person. 4 months later, they were married. And what makes this story so powerful is how quickly one match changed both of their lives. I'm Deidre Patterson, and on this channel, I share real stories of couples who found lasting love on dating apps because I want you to believe in love again and see that dating apps really can lead to marriage. After all, I met my husband of 15 years on a dating app too. Deidre and Damont's story is proof that love can show up fast. Sometimes it can happen in just 30 minutes. Let's dive in.
Hello, welcome to another episode. We have Deidre and Damont Smith. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello. All right, so we're going to just jump right into the questions. And we're going to start with the first question. What do you both do for a living? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So I'm a substance use disorder counselor and a mental health counselor. So I'm duly credentialed to work with people that are struggling with substance use and also people that are struggling with mental health diagnoses.
Wow. Okay, that's good. What about you, Damont?
And me, so I'm a senior manager at an aerospace company where I'm in charge of training for a division.
Wow. Okay, look at you guys. Okay, so then how long have you guys been married?
Well, today is our 6 year
6 years.
anniversary.
Yeah.
6
So we've been married for
years.
6 years
Happy
now.
anniversary.
Thank
Thank
Yay,
you.
you.
happy anniversary. So, where did you meet? What site did you meet on?
We met on Tinder.
Tinder.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You want to expand on that? Because it's actually a pretty cool story.
I really hadn't heard about Tinder. I had been on different apps, with being busy, it's hard to go out and do things. So I just joining different apps, paid apps and different things. And one day a Tinder commercial came on, and I was like, oh, I've never even thought about that. So I logged on to Tinder, and I lie to you not, probably after I logged up, within 30 minutes, we swiped and we matched.
Mhm.
And
Are you
the
serious?
next day we went
Wow.
out, and the rest is history.
30 minutes. I think that beats the record. You were on for 30 minutes
Yeah.
and you met your wife.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's based on location too. So we were actually
Yeah.
close to, I think we were like 20 minutes away.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
was new to all of that. So
Uh,
yeah, we know about 10 minutes. We live about 10 minutes apart.
Yeah.
wow. That's amazing. And you never saw each other
Yeah.
until Tinder, right?
No, not
Wow.
until Tinder. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Deidre? What happened on your side?
Well, I had been on Tinder for a while, and I was actually about to give up on Tinder because, I wasn't really having any luck with meeting the type of people that I wanted to meet. And so when we swiped right, he was immediately in my inbox. And I was like, okay, so he's quick. And like, I think that we only talked for like a day, right? Or
Yeah.
maybe
Hmm.
he's very intentional.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Good.
like a
Yeah.
day, and then he was like, "Do you want to meet?" And I'm like, "Already? Okay."
Because I don't want to waste time, right? I mean, if this is going to be something, let's see. Otherwise, right, I can move on. And so I'm very intentional about that.
I love that. Some of the women that I coach, when a guy asks them like almost immediately to meet in person, they're like scared. I was like, no,
Mhm.
that's a good sign. He's interested. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good. So when you swiped and you saw Deidre, was she the only one you swiped on in your 30 minutes on Tinder?
I want to say yes, but no,
Yeah.
no, she wasn't. There were a few others. There
Okay.
were a few others, and there were a few other matches. But for some reason, I was drawn this way.
Hmm.
Matter of fact,
Okay.
and that's what I told her after our first date, I had other dates that I was supposed to go on, but I immediately canceled them all and said, no,
Wow.
I'm gonna stick with this and see what happens.
Nice. So that is a good segue into the next question. What made her stand out? Like, what about her when you're on a Tinder for 30 minutes? What made her stand out?
Super match or whatever they call it, because we both swipe,
Ooh.
yeah, something like so.
Always swiped up.
Oh, wow. You guys were like a super match. Okay. And then Deidre, what about Damont made him stand out on Tinder?
Well, definitely, of course, the picture, but also his profile. I remember distinctly his profile saying that he was not looking for hookups. He wasn't looking for like
Mm,
flings or anything like that. Like I said, he was very intentional, even from his profile to when we started talking. There was just something about him that made, because, as a woman on Tinder, you hear a lot of fluff, a lot of talk and stuff like that.
right.
And so I was kind of expecting that from him too, but he kind of moved differently than others that I had interacted with on Tinder. So I could appreciate that. Of course, first I'm thinking, what if it's all talk, right? And so
Hmm.
I'm glad that he wanted to meet soon because it gave me another chance to kind of, like see where he was coming from and feel him out and stuff like that.
Nice. I love it. So how long were you on Tinder? He was on there for 30 minutes. How long would you say you were on Tinder?
I had been on Tinder, I want to say for like 6 months or so. And I
Okay.
had been on a couple different dates. At this point in my life, I was looking for something specific. And I was, like I said at the beginning, I was going to give up on Tinder because it seemed like a lot of guys on Tinder just wanted to, hook up or weren't looking for anything
Yeah.
serious. And that is not what I was looking for. So I was this close to deleting the app when I
Wow.
swiped right on Demont.
Nice. I love it. That's good. So then you guys went on a date the next day
Mhm.
after you were on Tinder. So what happened on that date?
Well, he picked the place because he works in aerospace, and we have a
Hmm.
airplane museum or
Yeah.
aerospace
Museum,
museum.
yeah.
And so that was
Mm-hmm.
first date was at the museum. I think it was good. What would you
Yeah,
say?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I took her to the Aerospace Museum because I just wanted to be in an environment, that we could talk and walk and look at things and different things as far as that goes. So, and that's where we went. We went to the museum and we chatted for a while, and it was great conversation. And then after the fact, I asked her if she was hungry, and
And I said I could eat.
yeah, yeah. So we went out to eat and we continued. So pretty much two dates in one. We continued the conversation
Nice.
there
Mhm.
and it just continued and it flowed. There was no nervousness, no
Mm.
shoppiness. Everything just flowed as it should have. And that's what shocked me, the way that the conversation, it just back and forth. No awkward moments, nothing. Almost like I had known her for
Mhm.
forever. And
Wow.
we were just conversing that well.
I love it. Okay. Yeah, that's good. What about on your side, Deidre? How was it for you?
It was good, and actually, because I was still in school for I think it was my associate, yeah, my associates at the time, and it was actually finals week, and I was really tired. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to make it, but
Mm.
I ended up making it. And I remember in the parking lot because I had parked, and I saw a car pull up, and I was like, "Oh gosh, is that him?" And so I sent him a message. I was like, "Are you here?" And then he sent me a message back. Well, he was like, "Why are you canceling?" Because he thought immediately I was like canceling or something like that. I was like, "No, I'm here." And he brought me flowers, which I thought was amazing. Yeah, and it was
Aw.
just the conversation. And he took me to the aerospace place and he was telling me all about airplanes and all this other stuff. And I was like,
Cute.
it was really nice. And like he said, the conversation really kind of just flowed. It's almost like, we already knew each other. We should have known each other. It went really well. And then we went to Olive Garden and ate.
Mm.
And yeah.
Nice. Was it his car that pulled up next to you, or was it somebody
Yeah,
else?
it was his.
It
And I
was.
saw him in the car because when I sent him a text, I saw him text me back. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's him." And then yeah, when what did you think when I got out the car?
I was about to ask you, was it love at first sight when
I
you first
said
saw each other?
I was excited because I said, "Oh, this isn't a catfish," and I think I told her that. I said, "This is
Uh,
actually her, right? That I saw on there." So
Hmm.
I was impressed, and she was a lot shorter than I thought she would be. But that's a good thing though, because I'm not just super tall myself, right? So
okay.
as yes, I was impressed from the moment, And so that definitely
Good.
the looks check the box, and then the conversation. And looks are to me, looks are great, but they're not the most important thing. And that conversation
Right.
needs to flow, and I need to vibe with the personality, and that's what really hit it off. That personality, I vibed with the personality, and I said, okay, I think I want to take this further. Matter of fact, after that first date, I called my mom and I said, I
Wow.
think I'm in trouble. I said because I
Wow.
met somebody, and already for some reason I just feel this sort of way.
Okay, you called your mom after
Yeah.
the first date.
I
That's
didn't
pretty
know about that
good.
until later.
Yeah, it was that. Yeah, it was. Yeah. When
Okay.
I know. I mean, I'm at that age, right?
Yeah.
I'm not here to play around. And yeah, that's where it was.
Good. What about you, Deidre? Was it love at first sight when you first saw Damont?
Nope.
What did you think when you first saw him?
I was very interested. So for me, I mean, yes, he checked all the boxes in like looks and conversation wise. But with my past and like old relationships and stuff like that, for some reason I was just waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? I was just waiting for something
Yeah.
to just kind of be off. But the more time that we spent together and the more that we got to know each other and the more he followed, like, and that's one of the things about Demont is he follows through with literally everything. And so when he
Good.
would say something and I'd be like, yeah, okay, but then he'd actually follow through. And I'm like, okay, so he's really a man of his word. He's very intentional with what he says and he does. And so I think it was the first date was fantastic and it just kept
Hmm.
getting better and better after.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that is definitely an impressive trait to have to be a man of your word. That's really
Mhm.
good.
Listen to what I say, but I want you to watch what I do.
Yeah.
I said that
Mm,
that's what you need to watch what I do, right? Not by what I say.
good. And then the other thing that Deidre said is you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. A lot of times when women finally meet their guy, they're like waiting for something bad to
Right.
happen.
Oh, she kept
It
throwing
just
things
takes
at me left and right, trying to force me out of the picture.
Trying to force
Yeah,
it
she
out of
just kept trying to throw bombshells and drop it, and I'm like, okay, all right, I've seen that, I've been there, I've done, okay, I've lived life. So what do you have now?
give an example of that. How did she throw
Oh, I
bombs
can
at
give
you?
an example
Oh,
of that.
yeah, go ahead.
Because
Okay.
like we don't fight or argue. Like it was so weird to me because I was so used to, always having to, go through that. And I just remember be like, well, we haven't even fought or argued. So I don't even know how you're gonna act when that comes. And he's like, oh, so you want to start a fight? We can start a fight now. I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
That's so
But
cute.
he was very patient with me, like I said. I mean, he did say that a lot, yeah, you hear what I'm saying, but also watch what I do. So his
Mm,
actions match his words, which, you
good.
can't deny.
That's really good. Yeah. Okay. So you went on your first date. How long did it take for you guys to become exclusive?
It wasn't that long.
One week,
1 week. Did you like
1 week.
formally ask
We
her, or
went
did
out
you
on
guys just?
November the 6th, and we were exclusive November the 13th.
How did that happen?
Well, so after our first date, and I think you were working swing shift then,
Third
right?
shift, yeah.
He was working third shift, and I was actually a manager at Burlington, and so
Hmm.
Burlington Coat Factory, and he would bring me food. Like in that week in between, he would always bring me lunch at my job. And
Wow.
then I think, wasn't it in the car? You
Yeah,
asked
it was
me.
in the
Yeah,
car,
it
yeah.
was in the car after he had brought me lunch. I can't remember his exact words, but he's just like, this is me and you. Like, are we gonna do this? Are we gonna be exclusive? I was like, yeah, let's do that.
I know all the women who are watching this are like, this is like the fantasy guy. Like they would want all this that's happening. This is good. Man of his word, bring you lunch. Wow.
This is the best swipe of my life. Absolutely. Like I'm so glad that I swiped right. And not only that, but that we met and, everything kind of just aligned. And I really think it's about the win when you meet that person, making sure that because it's hard because you can meet somebody and it just not be the right time. But I think in this case, everything kind of lined up.
Nice. Got exclusive a week after you met or your first date, either way. How long did it take for you guys to get engaged and then married?
I'll let him explain that. It was fast though.
We got engaged within a month after we were exclusive. 1 month later.
Wow.
And we were married 4 months after we met.
4 months.
Yeah.
4 months. We had it 4 months.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys went fast.
Yeah.
Well, we
Like I said,
I'm intentional.
I am intentional, and if it feels this real and this, I've got no time to play. I'm not in the stage where I want to be dating around, right? So,
Like, I'm not about to call you my girlfriend. I'm too
yeah.
old for that.
Wow. And now you've been married for 6 years
Yeah.
today.
We did get married during COVID, which was interesting.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. How was that getting married during
Oh
COVID?
man, because our wedding venue got canceled like 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
And
Our
then
cruise got canceled for the honeymoon, and it was,
Oh, no.
but silver lining is that today is our anniversary because, we had our wedding planned and it kept getting canceled. And then one day my husband was like, well, let's just go to the courthouse and get married because this is before everything got shut down. Things were
Mm-hmm.
still kind of open. And so we were like, okay, we did that. We went to the courthouse. It was just me and him and a couple of my friends, and we got married. And the next day, everything shut down.
Wow. So you got married right before everything shut down.
Yeah.
Okay. And then which is good because COVID, everyone was stuck in the house. So you guys
Right.
got
yeah, yeah.
married
And we
when you were
realized we
stuck in
really
Yeah.
liked each other.
Yeah, yeah, we right, we absolutely right. We learned each other. But the
Yeah.
beauty is we still ended up having a wedding. We just had it in July.
Oh, okay.
We had an
So you
actual
waited.
wedding in July.
Yeah.
Okay. That is so true. Yeah. It was like 6 years ago in 2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
That everything shut
Yeah.
down. And that's when you guys got married.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So then what do you like about Deidre now that you've been married to her for 6 years? What do you like about her?
I like the fact that how she cares for me, how she cares for me. She affirms me. She comforts me.
Mm,
She's there, right? She supports me in my activities and my endeavors and different things. And I love the fact that she is absolutely an independent woman, but she lets me be the husband at the
hmm
household, right? And lead the household and do the things. So I definitely appreciate that about her.
Okay. So I have to ask a question. So some women who are independent, they think that men don't like independent women. How do you feel about that? About women being independent?
I'm very confident in myself. So, and I want her to be able to do without me because I don't want her to have to rely on me for anything, right?
hmm
I enjoy doing for her. I enjoy doing for the family. That's why God put me here to be that covering, right? To be that protector. So I
Mm,
enjoy all of that. But as far as her being independent, I root her on, right? I rooted her through her
good.
associates, her bachelor's, her master's.
Wow.
I want her to excel to wherever ever she can excel to. I don't want her to be held back because again, I'm confident in that, and I know that I still love her and she still loves me.
Good answer.
Yes. And his mom did an
Okay.
excellent job raising him. And, he comes from a household for a single woman, raising him. And I
Mm,
think she really instilled a lot of what you're seeing now is because his mom
hmm
kind of instilled that in him. And I'm very appreciative of that.
That's good. Yeah. So what about you, Deidre? Well, you kind of already said, but we'll ask, what do you really like about him that you guys have been married for 6 years?
I mean, like he said, he's a leader, and I think it's really hard for women, especially independent women, to follow a man's lead. But I think
hmm
when you have a man that is honest and follows through and does what he says he's gonna do and shows up and is he's very compassionate. He always asks me how I'm feeling. How are you? He can tell when
Mm,
I'm like off a little bit, like what's going
right.
on, and so we're able to have those conversations and he listens to actually hear.
Mm,
It's I think a lot of times men want to fix things, which is fine. But he listens, he hears, and then he will go to solutions, so he doesn't just skip the listening part of it, and I really appreciate that. And just him as a person, as a human being, and the way he loves God and protects his family. I mean, it's amazing. I would not have my master's degree today if it wasn't for him. So,
nice. Okay. And he was just supporting you as you got your master's. Is that what happened?
well, yeah, and it's a funny story because when I got my associates, I remember I was so happy. And he was like, you're still an undergrad, right? And I was like, what do you mean? And so I went and got my bachelor's, and then even with the job that I have now, yeah, this goes back to the whole listening part. I was having a hard time at the job, and he started
Mm,
applying for other jobs for me. And the job that he
mm-hmm.
applied for me, actually was starting a master's program for mental health counseling. And
Wow.
so when I got the job, I entered their program. So when I say he's supportive, that's what I mean.
Gotcha.
Like when I don't see a way, he helps me to see that way.
Good. I love that. I love that support. That's really good. Okay. This is good for independent women who don't think they need a man. It can be very supportive. Okay, so when you got engaged, what made you confident that you found the one?
For me, it was, and even though it was a month, and I talk, and sometimes some people maybe in a month, maybe go out a couple times, this and that.
Mm.
We literally spent every day together. We found maybe 30 to 45 minutes to meet, right?
Wow.
And because we were both
Okay.
busy people. I was
Yeah.
working third shift, she was going to school. So that's where we would meet at lunch. We would, whatever time it took, we would spend that time to meet up with each other. So it was daily. We got to know each other
Mm.
more and more as far as all of that goes. And so, and that was a big reason, big factor for that.
Okay. In person, daily?
Hmm.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not normal. Okay.
Yeah. No, working third
Yeah.
shift, I had I'd work third shift. I only needed a couple of hours of sleep at that time. So I'd have my afternoons and most of my mornings free, right? So I'd go meet her where she was, and we'd
Mm.
have lunch, or we talk a little bit. And
Yeah.
I was really trying to get to know her to see if this is something I wanted to invest in.
Okay. Nice. How about you, Deidre? What made you confident that you found the one in 1 month?
It was everything. Like I said, just everything was just kind of lining up. And I remember, I remember distinctly, like, I can't remember, it was sometime in between the month, like before we got engaged, but he met my mom. And
Oh, okay.
my mom is like I mean, that's the key part to everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually at my work, at Burlington, and it was by Christmas
Yeah.
because we were Christmas shopping and stuff. And my mom came to my job and he came to my job, and that I felt that was a safe space because I didn't know what to expect. But him and my mom hit it off. And I literally have never seen this before. Like I was honestly scared to leave him alone with my mom. But him and my mom like got along, and my mom was like, Deidre, where did you find him? I'm like, Tinder. And she's like, no way. And I'm like, yes. um, so I think because, there like the first week there was some doubt, but by the time we were engaged, like there was no doubt in my mind that
Mm.
all the boxes were checked. We were spending time together daily. My mom approved, and I was just like, okay.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's good that you didn't have any doubts after a month. That's
Mhm.
really good. Okay. And this is all helping women who have like limited beliefs of what's possible, that you really can know for sure that that's the right person for
I think
you.
I was one of those women
Yeah.
previously.
Yeah. Until you met Damont.
Right, right.
Okay. All right. So then what advice do you have for people who are looking for love online?
Don't give up and don't be put off if they want to meet right away. That might be a good sign. Of course, meet in a
Yeah.
public spot, but trust your instincts. And yeah, I mean, it works. I know, there's a lot of flack about online dating and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you find somebody that's intentional and that, follows through with what they're gonna do, then it might be worth it.
Nice. Good. What about you, Damon? What advice do you have for people looking for love online?
I would say you can find it, obviously, because I found it. But I would say when you're going online, if you're truly looking for love and not just fly by the night, you really need to be intentional. You need to state your
Mm-hmm.
objective up front, and that's what I did. I stated my objective. I said, I'm looking for someone to spend the second half of my life, and this and that. I said,
Nice.
I was honest and I was very transparent because I mean, I wanted to push away anybody who wasn't looking for the same things that I was looking for. And I think by doing that allowed me for Deidre to come into play because I was honest and transparent. And I was like, whoever comes, come, right? And whoever's not, that's not what I'm looking for anyway. So I think that
Right.
that is one of the keys, right? Don't catfish, don't lie. Be
Mm-hmm.
if you're serious, you need to be transparent because otherwise you're going to run into some problems down the road.
Yeah. Okay. And then what marriage advice do you have?
Always talk, be open and honest with your feelings, how you're feeling. The communication, I think, is probably the biggest part for us
Mhm.
anyways. But I would think in any relationship that communication is important. And I think especially for men in general, sometimes it's hard for them to express what they're feeling. But I mean, he does a really good job at that. If something is off, he'll let me know and he'll tell me about it and we talk about it.
Whether she wants to hear it or not. All
Whether
right,
I want
well,
to
I'll
hear it or
tell
not.
her this is how I'm feeling. Look,
Yeah,
I
and
still love you, but I'm feeling this way. Look.
yes, yes. And
Good.
that's probably one of the best parts of our relationship because, sometimes it can be hard to hear. But if you hold on to it, that makes it, even worse because then I don't know what's going on. He doesn't know what's going on. And we're just, so that communication part.
Yeah, it's big. You
Mhm.
mentioned when you were dating that you didn't have an argument. How did that happen in marriage? Was it still like very few disagreements? How did that translate to marriage?
We have disagreements. We do. But again, that communication part, I think what in the beginning what scared me about that is because I never had a partner that could communicate their feelings, right? So it's a lot of
Mm,
guessing on my end and wondering what I'm doing or if I should be doing something different. But when you get somebody that communicates, it's less of an argument and more of a discussion. And that's kind of what I
yeah.
appreciate about it.
Yeah, that's really good.
Mhm.
Good. Okay. And then I have to ask, is this your first, second marriage?
This
Or
is
yeah,
both of our second.
both second. Okay.
Mhm.
And
And
then
final.
and
The
final. Yes, obviously.
period.
Good. And then between you guys, how many do you have together that you brought together?
How many? So we have
Kids.
two
Yeah.
kids together, and then I have five, and he has another two.
Okay.
Very,
Wow,
very
you guys had a
blended
huge
family.
family.
Very
Yeah.
blended, yes.
Wow. Okay. So then the last question is, what is your favorite part of being married? What's your favorite part?
Having a partner in crime. I mean, because we do a lot of stuff together, and we do a lot of family stuff together. I think it's just the time that we get to spend together, all of us, as a family. And it's just really refreshing to have like that support. Because I was trying to be independent for a long time, and you don't have to be. And you
Yeah.
can lean on somebody and you can count on somebody. And yeah, just every day is a new day, and every day is just, us kind of walking through life together.
Good. Yeah. What about you, Demont?
Having someone to grow old with, right? To grow old
Yeah.
because I mean, at the end of the day, the children they're going to grow up, they're going to get married
Mm-hmm.
themselves, they're going to leave the house, and we're going to be left with us. And so I think
Okay.
knowing that I have, I said a partner who's going to be there. That's why it's so important to keep building, even while the children are here. I have a partner who's going to be there for me, and I'm going to be there for my partner, and that's probably one of the best things.
Yeah. So good.
Thanks so much for watching. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe for more real life love stories from couples who met on dating apps. And if you're ready to find your own person, I've linked some free resources below to help you get started. See you in the next video.